Hello everyone, and welcome to Nighttime Storytime time! So, food. It can either be the most heavenly, glorious meal that the gods have bestowed upon you, where you cherish each and every bite you take because of its unquenchable taste. Or it can be Burger King. Well, all of that doesn't matter. What does matter, though, is whether or not it could give you some crazy disease like salmonella or something, I don't know. And this becomes relevant when you're traveling to other places. So here I'll give you 3 things to look out for when you're traveling. And each thing has a little story for me as well, so that I can prove to you that they are not that safe to eat. So let's start off with food number 1. Crabs. So I was traveling at my home country, Ecuador, and before anyone says anything, no, I do not eat roasted cuy. That shit is disgusting! Actually, let's add that one to the list. So moving on, I was staying at Ecuador with my family. One day we didn't know what exactly to eat, so my mom decided, let's go get some crabs to eat. So then, we went out, and then we approached 2 places. One, where there was an entire ass restaurant with a huge crab sign with it, fancy lights and all that stuff. And the second place had 2 guys with a table selling some awfully suspicious crabs. Guess which place we chose? Time's up. Did you guess which one? Well, it's the 2 guys at the table. So we bought the crabs and then went home. We ate the crabs and then I go to sleep.
The next day.
Once I woke up, I felt so terrible. I had a headache, I felt so nauseous, and my stomach felt ill. I stayed stuck in bed for most of the day since every time I got up, it felt like I just wanted to throw up. And that also made sleeping harder, so I couldn't really do that. Yeah. Luckily, I felt better the next day, and because of what happened in that fateful day, I told myself that I will never, ever eat crabs again. So there's food number 1. And now for food number 2, salchipapas. Now, don't get me wrong, salchipapas are some of the best things I have ever eaten, but for this, it's situational. Some places are safe to eat, some are not. So going back to Ecuador, hoping you're noticing a common theme here, we decided that it would be a good idea to go travel around the country to see what it had to offer. We stopped at this one city, and we had to look for a place to eat since it was nighttime and we didn't really eat much of anything that day. We go to some place, and I order salchipapas. We eat, and then we skip to the next day.
The next day.
When I woke up, I had this tingly, tiny little sensation on my stomach. I ignored it because it's not like it didn't really bother me at the time, and it's not like I needed to use a bathroom. We went to the bus terminal to go to our next location. We got into a bus and we just went off. The trip was going well. I made it this far. It's not like anything bad was gonna happen. I felt it. I started to panic. We were only halfway there to our location and it's gonna take an hour to get there. I can't hold it in for that long. I needed a miracle. I needed God to answer my prayers. I hope that I can somehow, just somehow get to a bathroom. Thank God! The bus stopped in front of a restaurant so the bus driver could take a little lunch break. I went to the bathroom and you can probably guess what happened next. I was so happy that I managed to get to the bathroom in time. And then for some reason I get a fever later that day. And then I made a promise to myself that I will never, ever eat salchipapas ever again. And before we reach food number 3, I would like to include another dish as an anonymous request. They have requested to include India frying food with oil from the sewers. Well, that's an interesting dish. And now, we have reached the fabled food number 3. Orange juice? Let me explain. So, when I was at Ecuador, hoping you're noticing a common theme here, we, once again, went around the country to see what it had to show us. We stopped at a restaurant, blah blah blah. We ate some fish stuff, and we were all served orange juice. It's important to note that the juice was made with tap water. Yeah, this isn't gonna end too well. Overnight, it felt like the entire family was casted under a spell. Nobody felt good. You probably guess how I felt. Nauseous, a stomach ache, and, you know, exploding diarrhea. We all decided it was best to leave the motel we stayed at and return back home. Best family trip ever. Okay, so that wraps up my little ramble about what food to not take when you go out to travel in different places. Okay, outro time. I promise I'll upload at a slightly faster pace. The consistency of these videos are so beautiful, you have no idea. Anyway, thank you for watching this silly little story.